So I want to welcome everybody out to the Family Search gig. This is the March class, and we are talking about Scandinavian records today. So I hope everybody's ready to recover or discover some Scandinavian records as we go through this. We're following the same process as usual with the wiki, the catalog, and so on. April 18th, we currently have scheduled for the Italian discussion. So, and I will talk about Italian, not Scottish records that month. So those that were on the Scottish talk know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, kind of an inside joke there.
So I am going to share my screen and go over. There we go. And just got to move a few things around. And so again, when we're in Family Search, there's a couple locations where we can find records. As I mentioned in the previous ones, if I'm looking at someplace new or trying to figure out what's available, I always go to the research wiki to start with. So under search, research wiki. And of course, the Scandinavian countries, there's several countries that we have to consider when we're doing this. So, you know, I can type it in up top here in the search term, or I can go in to the location. And this time I'm going to go into location and go to Europe. And you can see Finland and Norway. Where did Sweden go? Oh, there we go. Okay. Sweden. There we go. It's right there. For some reason, my wasn't going down any further. You notice that some of these have little arrows. So if we click on it, we can go to specific locations within Sweden, the specific counties, and the same thing with Finland and Norway. So if you know which counties you're in, you can go even further into this and pick the counties. I'm just going to go in and just grab Finland as a country and click on it, and it automatically brings me into the Finland genealogy page. Now, when you're looking at the Finland genealogy page, most of the countries are designed this way. You know, you have the country information. It gives you the time frame. It's where it's bordered, when it became a country. You know, if it was a part of a different country previously, like before 1809, it was part of Sweden. From 1809 to 1917, it was the Russian Empire. Finnish and Swedish are the official languages. But you also have the online records, the research help, and the getting started. And we'll talk about those a little bit here in just a second. You can go to the maps. Most countries have a map that you can click on the regions that you're interested in. And here it gives you the time periods for each of these regions. Interestingly enough, it tells you the Finnish name, the Swedish name, and the English name for an area. And then any references or sources. And then, of course, on the right-hand side, it has the different groups of record types and types of research that you'd be looking at. So let's just click on the getting started here for this country. And this lays out how to do the research. You know, of course, identify what you know, document and source your tree, decide what you want to learn, select the records to search, analyze and use the information, and then the tips for beginners. And, you know, the tips for beginners is pretty much the same as for every country. Start backwards before starting forwards. Understand what where you've checked. Think phonetically, because we're looking at a different language here. And so the names and places might have a different spelling in that region than they do in English. And then watch the dates. So remember that the Europeans write day, month, and year. We write month, day, and year. So be aware of that. So, you know, it's just giving you the basic beginners tips. I want to go back to Finland, the country here again. And when we go to online research help, so we can schedule an online genealogy consultation with a FamilySearch representative. And this is great because you get 20 minutes. And this is good for most countries. So I know that James Tanner, for example, does the online consultations for Brazil and some Central American countries. So if you're, doing something like that, you may end up speaking to him for 20 minutes. So this is just it's not to help you find the record that you're looking for your specific person. It's more of a guide to what types of records might be available, how you should consider looking into that, and what you might learn from those record sets. We also have the FamilySearch community groups, and I think I've mentioned these before, but let's just go to a community group here. So here in FamilySearch community groups, we have all of these different communities, and I can type in Finland, and let's just see if there's no groups there, but if I do, let's see if there's a Scandinavia group. Oh, come on. Let me do a sign in here once real quick and see if that affects it. Okay, let's see. Yeah, so for Germany, we have a group. So it looks like we might not have a group for Scandinavia. None for Sweden. You do have Switzerland, though. Ah, there we go.
Norway.
So there we go. So Norway, right there. Nordic countries research. There we go. So if you wanted to join this group, you'd be able to talk with people about Iceland, Denmark, Norway, Sweden, and Finland. And there's a lot of really good help in here. Some people might help you translate. Some will help you find, direct you to records and so on. So let's just click on it. And you can see that they have announcements, birth records, different things people are researching and have comments associated. Like somebody asked, is this the death record of a daughter or a son? So if I click on that, there's the death record here. And this one says, unfortunately, it doesn't say this is a child, but it doesn't say if it's a son or a daughter. These are just like your old message groups that used to have on Ancestry and all the other sites. But there's a lot of different groups here that you could join if you're interested. You can see some of my groups are Germany, England, Ireland, British Isles, and so on. Some of these groups are still active. Yay. So take advantage of those groups because they're great places to ask questions and get assistance. Or, you can always join an online research group also. And these are resources where you can post specific questions. You can see here that there's an international research group, North American research groups, specialty groups. And then if you go down, we can find a country. Let's see if there's, there's a Finland research group here. There's a FamilySearch Facebook group. There are miscellaneous groups that you can join in the communities. So remember that those are available for most locations around the world. So we're going to go back. So let's say you wanted to find a church directory or church records. So we can go in. I'm sorry, let's go to the Finland online genealogy records first. They're trying to do this with most locations. And so this gives you specific information. So if you're looking for birth, marriage, and death records, here are some links to those types of records. You'll see that they're not all FamilySearch. So this is like the Finnish archives right here. So these all go out to different locations. So the Finnish National Archives indexes, the HISKI Project of Genealogical Society of Finland, the church books at Finland's Family History Association, church records at Digihakemisto, DISBYT. So what they're trying to do here is give you an opportunity to find not just the family search records, but to find other records that would be helpful for your research. And they give you the time frames. So you can see 1527 to 1921, or you can go down here to births and they give you a time frame here. Some of these are family search. There's Ancestry, MyHeritage, American Ancestors. There's marriage records, death records, confirmations, cemetery records, census records, immigration, Scandinavian Jewish records, land records, military, newspapers, periodicals, Percy, and then tax records. So there's a lot of different records that you could potentially use when you're doing your research. If I go directly to church records, we can see a good description of what types of church records, the time frames that they covered, 1527 to 100 years ago. So, 100 years ago is probably the limitations on public records. And you can see some of these are the same record sets that we just talked about on the other page, but there are some other ones that might be in here also. So, when people talk about doing research, one of the things they talk about is build yourself a locality guide so you know what's available. Well, the wiki pretty much does that for you. So you have the locality guide where you can, build up the image or the information and figure out what's available for that location. And you can zoom in to the county level or the region level and do the same thing. So what's available for this region? There's the record sets that are available for that region. Again, this is all of Finland because it's going to be the same sets of records for that location. Okay. So even within a region, they have districts. And so those parishes might have record sets. Let's just click on one of those once. You can see the parish. It tells you the history of the parish, the villages. And then here are the church records sets that cover that parish and immigration and so on. Okay. So definitely use the wiki. I'm just going to use this parish in the next one. So I'm going to copy that. I'm going to go to search the catalog. And here, I'm going to put that in for place. And so it goes down to Lappi, Finland. So we'll just go for that. And we'll look at what comes up. So you can see there's a lot of records here that are available. Now, if I just say I only want those that are online, there's a few less. Okay. So what you want to do is, go through these ones that are online first. And after you've gone through those, then look at the NEs and figure out which ones are not online and then where those might be. So, if I don't know which ones of these are not online. Let me check real quick and pull up one. Okay, so it looks like the genealogies were not online. So I'm going to go to those 8 genealogies, and then these are books. So I'm just going to click on the book here. So it says it doesn't have a digital copy of this book. It has the call numbers at the Family History Library and where it's located. But then you're like, well, I don't want to go to Salt Lake City. So let's see where it's at in WorldCat. Yeah. So this tells me that the only place that book is available is FamilySearch Library. So that's not going to help you any. But let's pick a different one. We'll try this one here. And we're going to check the catalog. Now we see it's available in Wisconsin, Minnesota. Not much closer, but maybe you live in Wisconsin and you want to pick up the book. It's in Madison. So you always want to check to see, is the book available somewhere locally? Or is the book available that the Vero Beach Library could ask for a interlibrary loan from one of these locations and get it loaned to you for a period of time so that you can do the research here. I'm going to go to the online materials. So if you notice, we have the 1734 to 1750 census, 1810 to 1860 census, church records, court records. We have a lot of different court records. I'm just going to grab one here. So preliminary description provided to allow immediate online access. Images have not been reviewed. And you can see that they're all viewable. They all have the camera. And so we could pick any of these and then view the image online. And if you can read Scandinavian or Finnish, that one says 1860. I can tell that, 14 February 1860. So you might be able to figure out some of the words as you're going through it. Figure out these are, property items or something of that sort, most likely. The hard part about this is if you can't read Finnish, it makes it really difficult to figure out what these records say. So we can also go to search records. And, if I put that place name in here again, and if you have a last name to use, you can put it in there. I'm just going to try something once real quick. So all I did was put in the place name. I get 3.5 million records that are available. You see some billion graves records. So a lot of billions graves records. But if I put in one of these last names, Postila, I get 264 records. And I can see those that are specifically for this person. And let's just say I'm interested in this record. Let's see if we have any that are attached to the tree. So that this tells you there's an image. This tells you that there is a transcribed record. And this tells you that's connected to the tree. So if I click on this record or that symbol, I can go right to that person on the tree and see what information was added for that person. And if I go to the camera, then I can see that digitized record. And it looks like so this is a state of Minnesota death record. And the person was born in Finland, so that's why this comes up. Okay. So again, these are the indexed searches. So you can see in this case here, if I put in that last name, Postila and Lappi, Finland, I get 264. But if I got rid of that name and just typed in the Lappi, Finland, I had 3.5 million names. Now, you can also go through the collection. You can pick which collections you're looking for. Maybe I don't want all these Arizona records. Let's see if I can just find, I just want the Finland tax records and church records. I can apply that. And now I'm just looking at those three sets of records, and I have 886,000 records. I can also go in, I say, I only want, now that one didn't do it. So usually it says male or female. Let's see what I have on birth. So I have dates, but some of these dates don't look like they're right. 100, 200, 300, 400, the 1700s, 1800s. So I can pick a century, and within that century, I can pick a decade and apply that to the records and only look at those that were within that decade, 22,000 records in the 1770s. You can go into residence, continental Europe, Finland, say Lappi, and then hit apply. And now these are specifically those records for that region. I'm down to 14,000. So, utilizing these filters, it does narrow down your search, and it might get rid of some documents that you're interested in looking at. But you can at least start with a smaller number to begin with, and then start deleting some of these filters to increase your results. So I'm gonna go back out to FamilySearch. And in the search images, we're going to search for that same place. Let's just see if that place, notice that place doesn't give me any results. Okay, so I'm going to try it again, and I'm going to pick the Lappi. And again, I can pick which time frame I want the Lappi records. So let's look at this 1495 to 2009 Lutheran church records. Oops, okay, there we go. So it gives me 200 results. I can see that I have court records. I can also go down here and I can pick legal, religious, or residential records. So you can see most of them are legal, but let's say I only want the religious records. So I can update that, and I should get 17. And then I can see these by dates. And what I'm interested in this is this 1780 to 1796. And so this gives me an image group number. So these image group numbers, I can copy those. Oops. So here are those image group numbers, the images for those, and the information. Now, what we had started talking about earlier was you just have this film strip down at the bottom to go through to pick your images, but you also have this grid. So I can go to the grid and turn it on, and now I can review the grid. But when I click on a grid, it goes back to this, the film strip, so I can advance by an image at a time down here. Okay. You can attach it to your tree. You can download it to your files. You can do a split screen. So if you want to look at the previous page and this page, you can do that. So if I say I want to look at page 33 and 34, come on. Okay, let's just click on 33. So now I have 33 and 34 side by side. So if there's something on this page that reads over to this page, I can lay them both adjacent to each other. Of course, I can go in here and I can change the brightness and the contrast, invert colors, rotate the images, and so on, or zoom in. I can zoom in with my mouse, return back to the normal, or zoom in with the buttons and return back to the normal image right there. And then we're going to turn off the split screen. So I just click off one of them, and now I'm back on the screen I'm on. So, when you find your record, you go to attach tree. It asks you to give it give it a title, and then what's the PID number for the individual you want to attach. And it also give you their close relatives. So it'll give you their parents, their spouses, their children, and ask you, do you want to attach this record to one of them also? So in a case where it lists, you know, in this case here, let's say this is a person here, and then these are their children. You can attach it to the head of the household, the children's name, also by just clicking on little radio buttons by each name of the individual that the record is about. Okay, does everybody follow that? Silence is golden. Great. Okay. So I want to see if I can copy this image group number, and I'm going to go back over to the catalog. Notice in the catalog, you have this image group number down here, and I can paste that number in and then hit search. And then the record comes up. So it says to view digital images of these church census, click here, not available on microfilm. But notice here, this tells me they're searchable. So this was not something I could do in the images. The images are unindexed images, but this is telling me that that film number, and we go back to the search results here, 205, okay? So when I go down to 205, I can click this and search it. Now I can type in the name, you know, whatever that name might be, and then get the record, and I can look at the indexed record, which you can then translate into English, you know, so it has all of this information in English, and then the information, and then I can view the original document, and I can, oh, so that's what this means. You know, now I have all the information here, and I can find that person in here, and then record any additional information that might not have been indexed. Let me go back to the image here real quick. Notice here I have indexed information, and I can edit that indexed information. I didn't have that when I was looking at the images. So, and it tells me here that 2 changes have been made to this, and I can show the change history, and I can see what the changes were. So, somebody added an event type, place, a date, and all this was done on December 4th. And then a sort key and so on. So this is something that helps out a lot, because you know you can go to the record you may not find this specific record when you're looking in the record search, but when you do the unindexed records images, you find the record, grab that digital code, bring it over to the catalog, add it, do a search by on catalog, and then see if you can find it. And what I found is that not everybody is indexed in the images all the time. And so what I was able to find was, you know, the other night I was able to find one person who was indexed in the index record. And then I found them in the unindexed records, and I went page by page and looked for other records.
Yeah.
So just be aware that there might be multiple ways of finding the same information. Okay, so we also, and of course I just did this, because I copied that, I now have to copy the location. Let me go back to the search, the wiki, and we are in, we're in Finland, and I'm going to pick a town in Finland. So I'm going to go into one of these locations, and I'm just going to grab Kitty. Okay, Kitty Parish, Finland. Okay. So remember on FamilySearch.org/research/places, this is where you can type in a place name. So let's say you're going through and you find a record and it has a place name in it, but you can't find that place on a map today. So you can type that place name in this location, and it's going to find you the historic names for that place. So you see here, Kitty Parish. I'm going to get rid of Parish once. And so we see Kitty comes up, and you can see it has history from 1631 to 1960. This is the map showing where it is. I can zoom out. Okay, and I can see Kitty in the map of Finland. So it's very close to the Russian border. If I look here, there's another name for it, but if I open this up, I can see all of the similar named locations. Okay, but you see those are all in different locations. So what I'm actually looking for is this one here. And when I click on it, okay, there we go. When I click on it, I can see alternate names. And I can see that it's had 2 different names. I'm surprised. I would have thought it might have had a Russian name, being where it's located. But you see that this one has a couple different names also. And it gives me research links. So it'll give me like, a web page that might have some information about the location, citations, online gazetteers and so on, some web links that I might be able to use to get more information about the town. So let's see. I was looking for one that might have some more alternate names. You can see that one's got a couple different alternate names, but they're all Finnish. So, you may have found this name on your map, but this name is what's in your record. So just, be aware that you can find these towns, the historic information. Now, there's a couple of things that you can do here. Let's put this back in again. And I can click this, and I can go to exact names only. So it's looking, I'm going to get rid of parish. Oops. So it's looking for exact names only. So you see, I only get 2 when I put on the exact. But if I leave it unexact, oh, come on. I had more than 2 just a minute ago. Where did they all go? Let's do it this way.
Maybe when you had Parish in there, which had it.
That's what it was. Yeah, I had
Parish
parish.
had it.
Right.
Had more.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So you see all of them that come up. If I do it exact, it doesn't matter. Okay, in this case here, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But let's do I'm gonna get rid of parish, but I'm only gonna do. So now I've misspelled it, and I've left it open, and you can see it's giving me a bunch of different possibilities. If I turn it to exact, oh, come on. This is supposed to not do this. Everybody knows what the difference between fuzzy and exact searches are, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. We also have these new filters, and these new filters are brand new. These just came out this week. Here you can type in a place name, a place type. It could be a city, a town, a parish. So they give you a bunch of different types of types of places. If you're looking for a county, so let's say I'm looking for Mercer, Ohio. Most of these are counties, but then there's some towns, Mercer, Illinois, Mercer, New Zealand, that come up. And I'm saying, I want this to be a place name. I want it to be a county only. And so I'm going to click on that, and now I'm down to 11 results. And now I'm only in counties. So I see there's a Mercer County, Ohio, New Jersey, North Dakota, Missouri, so on. I can go search within Ohio. And now when I do it, it gives me that one location. So, you can do this with your countries. If you have a town name that appears in multiple countries, and you want to say, I only want it within this country, it'll give you that. So, maybe for example, the town, maybe there's 5 different towns within that country, but then there's 50 different towns with the same name around the world. And you can say, I just want it within this country, and it's going to show you just those within that country. And then you can say, okay, which one might my ancestor have been from? So it gives you a map to narrow that down. But you can see, you can do it by date, by certification level. Is this provisional data, accepted data, certified data? I really don't know what that does. But if we go down to date, you can enter the dates for the period that you're looking for, and it'll go to those dates only. So does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Now, in Finland, I'm going to do this get involved, and I'm going to go to opportunities. What this allows you to do is work with the computer assisted indexing. So like here, I can go in and I can say, I want to work in the Puerto Rico project, or I can work on something else. I can work on a straight indexing project. I can do a full name review, a quick name review, or verify places. I'm going to go to verify places. And I'm going to say, I want to verify places in Sweden. And I want to do my search. Now, what this is going to give me is, this is a place name in Sweden, but it's not standardized. And it asks me, is this the standardized place name? But it gives me these possibilities. So I'm not familiar with Sweden, so I don't know which one this is correct. But, it could be Kalred Kalmar, Sweden. It could be Kalred Jönköping, Sweden. Östergötland, Sweden. So you see there's a lot of places where that town is located. But it's not telling me it's in Tolk and Kronenberg, Sweden. It gives me options. So what this is asking you to do, if you're familiar with the places for a location, you can then go through and say, this is the correct standardized form for that. And then when you hit save and continue, it will correct that information on a record. Like this one, Mallingsboro, Gotland, Sweden. If I found something that looked similar, I would click on it. Orboro, Lindisberg. I could, if I found it, I could collect it, or I could correct it. So this is an opportunity. I do this a lot with, I can tell it to do Ohio records. If I go to find places and go to United States, search, and it's going to give me a bunch of records like Silver Street. Nobody knows where that is, so you can skip that one. Dairies purchased by Alan Nevins. That's not a standardized place. District 6, Fentress, Tennessee. Well, this is Fentress, Tennessee. I don't know where District 6 is. Precincts 2 through 7, Shiloh, Pippins. So basically it's in Bluntstown. Where is this? This is, wow. This is one of those that's multiple locations, so I couldn't tell you what that one is either. No idea what was is. Okay, these are not good ones.
Of course. Of course.
That's what happens when you do a random selection at a time. But play with this a little bit, because this is what it's doing here is the on these other ones, the names, the computers are indexing this and saying, is this Juana? And you look at it and say, oh yeah, click yes, click no, or skip. It's Juana Josefina something. So if you're doing the full name, searches, it's going to ask you to put the names together so you can do that. Okay. And then, so standardizing dates and places. So, make sure you know what the standardized dates and places are for Sweden. So know that your town, your county, your country, or your town, your region, whatever it is, make sure you're trying to type those in the same way, because what's going to happen is FamilySearch is going to use that in its training for the computers, but it's also going to help it find more hints for you because it knows the place and the time frame that you're looking at. So the last thing I want to show everybody was, we've talked about the family history guide. And so when we go into family history guide, we can go into countries and we can go into Scandinavia. Here are the Scandinavian countries: Denmark, Finland, Iceland, Norway, Sweden. I'm just going to click Sweden. And remember, this is training you how to do your research within that locality. So this is our basic research for Sweden. And, learn about Swedish research. It goes through, you can watch a video, you can look at handouts. There's some more videos here. This one's from Ancestry, beginning Swedish research. This one's from BYU. This is Swedish research tips. This is a FamilySearch handout about finding unknown fathers in Sweden. This looks like it's probably a video 65 minutes long. This is the FamilySearch wiki for Swedish record finding, and so on. So, your basics. Then if you want to learn how to use archives and libraries, you can follow through with that. If you're looking for vital records, here's the instruction on how to use vital records for Sweden, with links to FamilySearch, Ancestry, MyHeritage, the FamilySearch wiki, and genealogy links, so you can go right to the records for those. We can also look at the counties, but notice we have the lightning bolt. And so when we go down to the bottom here, you can see the quick links. So this one goes right to FamilySearch Swedish baptism records. This one goes right to Ancestry's index birth records. This one goes to Ancestry's birth records, births from the Swedish death indexes. Here's marriages, so right to those record sets. And then here's house enrollments. So if I wanted to find these Swedish marriages, I would click on it. And now I'm right in the Swedish marriage collection, 1630 to 1620, where I can put my search information in here, click more options, add spouses, add batch numbers, group image numbers, so you can select which film you want to look at, and so on. And let's go back. And so we have churches, immigration, military, probate, maps, newspapers, websites, search records, get help, geo community. So you could look at any of those types of information and learn how to do the research and get guided tours to get to those. And again, here are the counties. And if I select the county, I will go right to the wiki for that county and all of the links that provides. All of the towns that are there, naming conventions, church records, and so on. So a lot of information there. I'm going to stop sharing and go back to the link here. So we did pick up a few people since we started, so that's good. Does anybody have any questions about how to find Scandinavian records on FamilySearch?
Nope.
You can follow the wiki and figure out what's there, follow Family History Guide, figure out, how to do the research. Now all you have to do is be able to learn how to read Scandinavian. Of course, you all know about Archive Digital, right? Archive Digital is a Scandinavian research website, and they have a booklet that we have here in the Family History Center that anybody can take one of those booklets if they come visit us. That is basically is a workbook talking about how to use the different records, the Scandinavian records. So it walks you through looking at the church records, the census records, and so on, and what kind of information you're going to find. It shows you examples and helps you read those examples so you know what you're looking for.
Mhm.
So, Polly, did you have a question, or I saw your
No.
finger go up?
Sorry,
No.
no. No.
I did like Miles, where you showed you could use a split screen and look at two images, two different pages.
Yeah,
Because a lot of your deeds and your probate records scan over from one page to another, and I like that feature. Yeah,
right. Or a census record or something
Yeah.
like that.
yeah, it'll be that's going to be handy.
Yeah. Any other questions? So yeah, so in April we have Italian, and in May we're going to do German, and then we'll take off for the summer. I am open to suggestions of, the reason why we're doing it this way for the first half of this year is because somebody has suggested, hey, let's look at individual countries.
Yeah.
And to associate with the gigs a little bit and figure out if that's helpful. But if, going into the fall, if people have ideas on how they want to see FamilySearch presented to them, that might be helpful. We can, set up a set of classes associated, with that type of guidance also.
Okay.
Okay,
Right.
no last questions?
Nope.
Well, then I will stop recording.